Yo, y'all know what time it is. Another episode of Brothers Got Next. It's your boy D, and as always, I'm joined by my boy Kwab. What's going on, man?
What's up? It's been a minute, man. We had a whole Super Bowl since the last time we spoke. What's up?
Yeah, man. It's been about 2 weeks. Yeah, man. Speaking of Super Bowl, want to get your quick thoughts of what you thought about the game and talk about the halftime show a little bit. That's been really the biggest discussion more than the game.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But let's get into the game. What were your thoughts on the game?
I mean, me and you both picked the Eagles, I believe. Yes, did we both pick the Eagles?
No, I picked the Chiefs.
Oh, okay, I picked the Eagles. Yeah, I picked the Eagles. It's funny because I know you were thinking about the Eagles, but you ended up.
I thought it would be. I said it was going to be close. I thought that it would be kind of like the first time they met, where Casey gets a walk-off field goal, but I thought it'd be back and forth. So I was not expecting a blowout by
their asses. Dude, at one point it was 36-0.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Like, you had to be watching that game. Me and you were texting, like, we're just stunned.
Yeah, I kind of knew at halftime. I was just like, I don't know if the Chiefs could come back from this.
Even though they're the Chiefs, even though they've done that?
Yeah, when they were down like that before, it may be a bit like it'd be one quarter, right? And then the next quarter, they either would tie and catch up, or they'd be within striking, and you're like, okay, they're good. But nah, they just didn't look good for the whole first half. And I was like, this is a big lead to kind of overcome. Plus, when Hurts hit that long touchdown to Smith, I was like, oh, it's a wrap. It's over. When Devontae Smith got that touchdown,
that's one of the most well-rounded performances you'll ever see in a Super Bowl. They were great. I mean, the only thing that didn't work well for the Eagles is, the Chiefs did a good job stopping the run.
Right. Remember, we kind of talked about that in the last pod we did. We said we thought they would focus on stopping Saquon, and it kind of prove that Jalen Hurts can beat them, and he did. You know what I mean?
And I've been hard on Jalen Hurts, and obviously there are times throughout the season he was very inconsistent. But one thing about Jalen Hurts, man, he plays really well on the big stage. Even the Super Bowl they lost a couple of years ago to the Chiefs, he played really well. And even some of the Chiefs defenders were saying, like, that's one of the best quarterback performances we've seen. So props to Jalen Hurts, man. He's not going to wow you in the regular season, but he's a big game quarterback. There's no question about that anymore. His demeanor is
very Howie Roseman too. I mean, just putting together the roster, because when you look at their roster, they're good on both sides of the ball. Defensively, they have a good front four, good linebackers, good secondary. Then you go to the offensive line. Arguably the best offensive line in football, best running back in football. Right, Jalen Hurts, definitely a top 10 quarterback. And then you have two. I mean, that has to be one of the best duos in the league with Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. You're talking about probably a top 5 duo. So yeah, you have to give props to Howie Roseman, man. Probably one of the best, if not the best GM in the NFL right now.
He might be
putting together the rosters, man. I mean, there's nobody better right now. I mean, he's won 2 Super Bowls with 2 different quarterbacks and 2 different head coaches. So that shows you a lot. Like, he doesn't need, like, okay, I need this coach or I need this quarterback to win. He's quick to move off if it's not working or he feels like it's not going to work, long term. He's quick to move off. And he was criticized in the past for doing that, like not having patience. But he looks like a genius now. I think he's just very aggressive. Like, look, we're trying to win now. This is not no rebuild or, we're looking for the future. No, they're trying to win now always. So I give him a lot of props for always retooling, whether it's through the draft or through free agency or trades, getting that roster just perfectly on both sides of the ball. So, yeah.
I think there's something that happened with the Eagles back in 2020 that kind of changed everything. So in 2020, they drafted Jalen Reagor in the first round over Justin Jefferson, and they got a lot of criticism for that. Of course, hindsight's 2020, right? Like, when it first happened, people were like, oh, that's surprising, but Jalen Reagor ended up kind of being a bust.
Right.
And Justin Jefferson's arguably the best receiver in football.
Where's Jalen Reagor now? Is he even in the league?
Ooh, where is Jalen Reagor now? Ooh, that's a good. Oh, he's on the Chargers. I wouldn't even have known that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Gotcha.
But anyway, so what happened after that draft is they just started taking the approach as, all right, we're just going to take the best available player. We're not going to, let's try to find that hidden gem. If teams still try to do that, like, let's.
Right.
Sometimes, man, I mean, I think there's an exception. Like, if you already have a franchise quarterback, you're not going to take a quarterback in the first round.
Yeah. I was going to say the exception of the quarterback, right. Exactly.
But the exception of quarterback, man, I think that's the way to do it. And of course, you're gonna have hits and misses regardless of what approach you take. Even if you do want to find that hidden gem, sometimes it works. Like, we found that dude. Right. I mean, heck, they kind of thought they found it with Carson Wentz. He looked pretty good those first couple of years. And
Right.
I think with Wentz, the injuries didn't help his situation either. So, but yeah, man, I agree. I think he's one of the best GMs in the league. Hell of a performance. And I'm very curious how they're going to be, how they're going to be favored next year. The early numbers that have came out still have the Chiefs as a Super Bowl favorite. I believe the Ravens are 2, and I think the Eagles are 3 according to Vegas right now. So, yeah, man, that's your division's getting tougher, man. Jalen, you got Jalen Hurts, then you got freaking Jaden Daniels. So Dak's gonna have some real competition. The Giants are gonna be trash again. So
yeah, but they might at least get a quarterback. We'll see. Who they get. They at least might get a quarterback, but. Yeah, man. Like I said, I ain't going to even talk about the Cowboys are irrelevant right now.
Cowboys are always relevant.
They're not.
They're going to be talked about. We know that.
I don't know, man. I see a pattern of kind of Raider-esque happening with them. Like, remember how the Raiders were, at one point the big thing, and because they have a great fan base. But I see the Cowboys kind of going down that road. Like, yeah, they'll always be the Cowboys, but as far as like winning and expectations of like Super Bowl, I think those days are gone. As long as Jerry's still there running the ship, the Cowboy fans shouldn't have any really big high expectations for the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll be relevant because they're the Cowboys, but as far as them contending, no. Because like you just said, Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts that is the future of the division for the next at least 5 years. You know what I mean? And then Jaden maybe talking about 10. Dak is 30, and he's on the wrong side of 30, and he's had a lot of injuries. Mm-hmm. So this is his last kind of big contract and leg. So we're gonna have to look for another quarterback. Really, to be honest, pretty soon within the next 3 to 5 years, we'll need to look for a quarterback. So yeah, I just think the Cowboys are just not on a really high trajectory. I think you got to start looking at them as like kind of like the Raiders. How the Raiders?
That's a little harsh. When you think of the Raiders, you got to think of the Jets, and they're low bottom feeder type teams. You guys have still won a lot of regular season games. I'm not ready to say that. And when we talked about in the last podcast, right? Like your new coach, like we don't know. Like we some people think he's going to be terrible. Like what if he's all right?
Yeah, no, I'm giving him a shot. I'll give him a chance. I'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you still have a quarterback who we know, even though, like you said, he's kind of trending.
Yeah, I don't know how his health is. It's something now every year with him. He hasn't played a full season, in like almost 2-3 years.
Yeah, you still have the best. You still have one of the best receivers in the league. You still have one of the best. One of the best pass rushers.
Them too is they're in cap hell too because you're paying Dak, you're paying CD. I think eventually they're going to pay Micah. You know what I mean?
I think they will. I think they will.
So you're going to have 3 guys on the roster that you're paying big money to, and it's not a lot of wiggle room. You have to sign free agents. You have to really pretty much go through the draft, and their draft has pretty much been hit or miss. Like, we have like every other year. I feel like their draft is good. Like, we'll get that 1 or 2 good guys. Like, okay, they're good, and then some other years it's like, nothing. So, like I said, man, I'm just not confident in the front office with Jerry Jones. That's my whole thing. We'll see how the new head coach is, and a lot of the players, with the exception of like. Yeah, CD and Mike are still young, but like you said, like Dak is on the wrong side of it. He's getting older. He's not young anymore, So, like I said, right now they're the 3rd best team in that division just by default. They're not sniffing the Eagles, and they may not even be sniffing the Commanders. So,
we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. But man, talk about. I know you've been the traveling man. Like I know you were in Vegas. For your brother's Super Bowl party, and then obviously you went to Oakland, the Bay Area, for the All-Star game. So just talk about your trip real quick. Vegas, and then going to the Bay Area.
Yeah, it was really cool, man. So like you said, started off in Vegas just to spend time with the family, watch the game with the brothers. Then I flew over to San Francisco on February 13th for work. We went there to do our live show. I produced a show on YouTube and on ESPN2 called Numbers on the Board. It's an NBA show. You guys should check it out. Nice. But we did a live show in San Francisco. But the day before that, we did a live show also at the old Oracle Arena where the Warriors used to play, and we did that at the celebrity game. So it was pretty cool, man. I didn't get to necessarily interact with all of them, but I got to see Barry Bonds and Terrell Owens.
Right.
It was really cool, man. I got to meet a couple of guys like Jerry Rice. Which is like, wow, you know how many footballs this guy's caught? It was cool
Major receiver of all time.
Yeah, it was cool to meet him. A couple other guys, Drewski, who's like a big deal on social media.
Yeah. I still can't, it's still I still have to get my head wrapped around like these guys who are like social media celebrities, because I don't.
It's just this generation.
Yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
not into them. I don't really watch them like that. I mean, I know who they are,
Hey,
but
I
it's
just
not like
know them. Mm-hmm.
I'm not watching their whatever they do on, you know what I mean?
But these
So
guys have like they have millions of followers, man. Like,
yeah, like I watch some
you
clips
know,
sometimes. I'm just like, I don't get the hype. I'm not. That's just me. I'm just like, okay, so why are people so like? Well, what are they
people
doing?
love it. But you have to remember, D, when we were in college, we probably had interests that people our age and now, like 40, were like, why are they into that stuff? So
Yeah, but
it's
I
all
felt like that.
generational.
Okay, to defend our era, I think that stuff
Yeah.
was like still on TV. It was people that were still like they were still celebrities from like TV or movies, or
Yeah.
it wasn't from the internet. So I mean, a lot of people, all other people, still knew who they were. It's just that
Mhm.
you may not have been a fan of theirs, but I feel like there were people that were on TV, like, oh, they're on TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's not.
now but it's kind of a beautiful thing too, though, right? Because look at what we're doing. Like we're on the internet. We're trying to blow up
Right,
from
right,
YouTube,
right.
from being seen, clips being seen on social media. So
Mhm.
it's definitely different, but it does give everybody an opportunity, which I do like. Like, how would we have done this? 15 years ago, we really couldn't.
Nah, because we would have to get on a radio station and
Yeah,
hope that somebody notices our talent to say, hey, we want to give you guys a show.
exactly,
So you're right. I mean,
exactly,
in that aspect, you're right. I mean, it is good that the people that are internet stars are getting that outlet in that
100%.
platform, the medium to do what they do, whatever that
Yeah,
is. You know what I
yeah. But it was
mean?
cool. I didn't get to go to the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a good thing. Um,
We'll get into that. Yeah, we're
yeah,
gonna get into that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Go get into it. Let's talk.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously, this whole
Yeah.
week it's been, everybody has their opinions on the new All Star Game format. Obviously, I know you said you didn't go to the game. I don't know if you were able to watch any of it.
I
I'm not
was.
gonna lie to you. I didn't watch a ton of it. I watched some and saw
You didn't
clips.
miss nothing, D. You didn't miss nothing.
Yeah, and I was, I'll give my opinion after yours, but just give me your early thoughts on,
Nah.
like what you thought, what you saw, what you thought of it. Is this something that the NBA should do going forward, or they need to
No.
go back to the old format, or do something different entirely?
Look, man, I give a lot of props to Adam Silver for this. He definitely wants to try new things. He's pretty innovative. He has pretty good ideas. Now, of course, a lot of them aren't hitting, and it was actually the second lowest viewed All-Star game of all time. It's like,
Oh
ugh,
wow,
that's rough, man. And the thing that's unfortunate is the NBA never lacks star power, right? Like, there's always stars. Like, there's a lot of young, good players right now. So it has nothing to do with the talent on the court. It's just when you have a format like you just did, where you have four different teams. I think it was four. Yeah, four different teams, and bro, you got stars that played legit like 5 minutes.
right,
It's like
right,
that can't happen, man. And my fault. It was three teams. It was Team Kenny, Team Chuck, and Team Candace. So you had, dude. So if you
right.
look
And
at
check out the OGs, right?
yeah, exactly. So if you look, it was the first to 40. First of all, why 40? Who knows? But what happened is you had guys. You have superstars in this league that played 7 minutes, 5 minutes. Anthony Edwards didn't even play. He didn't
No, no,
play for
he no,
Team
no,
Kenny in
he
the
was
first.
a early scratch.
Oh, okay, right. That's
Yeah,
why.
yeah. He decided not to play. I don't know if he was sick or he kind of pulled a LeBron. We're gonna get to that as well.
Yeah, young stars like Alperen Sengun only played 4 minutes. Wembanyama 6 minutes in that first game. Now, Team Chuck got to play again because they won the first matchup. But like,
Right,
you got to see, Jalen Brunson for 8 minutes, and then that's it. Like, all right, he didn't even get to bust a sweat, and
right,
he's already gone. So I think I give a lot of props to Adam Silver once again for trying to be innovative, trying to be different. Like the in season tournament, I don't feel like I care too much about it. I don't know how you feel. Like, I don't feel like the winner. Like, I know they get a cash prize, which is good for like the younger players, but
Mhm.
what is winning it does? What is that supposed to do? Like, oh, we won it. Like the Lakers are the first ever champions of the NBA
Yeah.
Cup.
Who won it this year?
The Bucks won it this year. They
Oh,
beat
that's
they beat the Thunder, but I just don't feel like there's enough. I don't think the prize or the I don't think there's enough there for people to really get excited about it. I honestly just feel like they need to go back to the old format. And these players, they can save it. They just got to play hard. They're getting paid way too much money to be just lackadaisical on the court. Like Michael Jordan didn't make $30 million a year until the back end of his Bulls career, but he was playing 82 games every season. You think Michael Jordan or Kobe or any of those guys are going to go
They're
out
also
there?
playing hard in the All-Star game too.
Dude, it was competitive. Like these guys were
Right.
going at it.
Right.
And this was when we were in high school. Like, bro, we used to love watching the All-Star game, man.
Right,
I remember with like guys like Iverson and Marbury and just Kobe and all these guys like Steve Francis, all these guys, McGrady, they were all just going at it, you know?
Right.
And we would still see behind the back passes, guys throwing it off the backboard, dunking it.
Right.
It was great to see that, and I just miss it. Am I optimistic that we'll get back to that? Probably not. I just don't feel like players care enough. I think their excuse now is like, oh, we want to preserve our bodies. I'm like, well, bro, they did too. You don't think they cared back in the day? But it's just a different NBA today, and I thought it was a swing and a big miss, and I don't think they're going to get back to it next year if I could guess.
Yeah, let me just start by saying this. I think the players brought this on themselves. This is a result of what the players did, to be honest with you. I don't blame Adam Silver one bit. Like you said, he tried. It was a swing and a miss. It happens in every, sport. I mean, think about
just life in general.
Think about the Pro Bowl now. Nobody really cares about the Pro Bowl. People don't really care about the Pro Bowl before they even stop really doing the Pro Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to blame Adam Silver because, like you said, he tried. He tried something different. It just didn't hit. But the players really brought this on themselves. I mean, look at last year's All-Star game. It was like 200 and something to like 180 something. And guys just pulling up a three from half court. No defense. Like you said, nobody really cared. They just like, I'm just going to do whatever I want. Not competitive. So I blame the players a lot for this. They brought it on themselves. And you're right. I mean, I'll say this. It wasn't a hit. It was a miss.
Mm-hmm.
And going forward, I don't see them continuing this. The one idea I did like that I heard this week from a lot of people discussing the aftermath of the All-Star game was doing like maybe a USA versus the world, like the best All-Stars from the U.S. from the best international stars, because obviously there's a ton of international stars that are All-Stars now, and then you still got the U.S. guys. So I like that idea because I know the guys that are from other countries are very prideful and very like, they're going to play hard. They're not going to go out there and just
100%.
not care, right? So I like that idea if you're not going to go back to the East-West format. But, yeah, this is all on the players, bro. I mean, until the players really start kind of caring and being competitive and, like you said, like back in the day, going at it and really looking at it as a game, a regular season game, it's going to keep being the same. If you go back to the East and West, right, they're just going to do what they did last year instead of this year. So it's really on the players, bro. I don't really blame Adam Silver or the NBA. The players brought this on themselves. Now, I will say about the format, what I did notice is that they did play a little harder and a little more competitive than they did last year. Even though the games were 3 or 4 different games, and guys that get to play a lot, but it was a little more competitive. I felt like they cared a little bit more than they did last year. But yeah, I don't like the format going forward. Like I said, I think if you're not going to do East-West, do a USA versus the world, because I think a lot of people would like that and love that, because then you not just get the U.S. audience, you get then, the whole other countries involved, overseas and stuff. So, yeah, man, overall, the All-Star game is just not in a good place right now. Like I said, Adam Silver I will say Adam Silver's going to have to figure that out if he's going to go back to the East-West to do like a USA versus the world. I think that's going to be on him. But again, this is really a result of what the players have been doing the last few years with the All-Star game. This is really why this is happening. Like I said, it really all falls on the players. So until they kind of get into it more, I think we're going to see the same kind of product.
Yeah, no, I think you said it perfectly. I won't repeat too much of what you said, but one thing that I did hear, a rumor that I heard, is that they may implement a one-on-one tournament next season. I think that would be fun because I think these guys have a lot of pride. Like,
yeah,
that would be great. Yeah. Like, I would love to see, KD versus LeBron or Shai Gilgeous versus, Devin Booker. I'm just throwing guys out.
Right.
That could be cool. The women tried it. I thought it worked really well when they did it. So, yeah, props to him. Like I said, Adam Silver for just trying something new. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are also criticizing him for fixing something that's not broke, but it was kind of broke. So I don't get why.
Yeah, because I don't. No. Yeah, because other people said that it wasn't broke. It was because they complained last year. Remember, like
Yeah,
everybody complained last year when it was 200 and something to 180 something. People were like, "Yeah, this is a horrible product."
yeah.
So that's why he changed it. I don't. So whoever's saying that, yes, it would stop. Stop
And
talking.
the thing is, like, it's hard to kind of pinpoint when the decline started. Like, I guess it was.
I'm gonna say about 2-3 years ago, I started to notice it. Me personally, because I was
But I
watching
feel
a
like
little
before
bit,
that, yeah, I
like
feel like
maybe even before that. You may be right. Maybe even going back 5 years. But I started to notice it a few years ago. Like, yeah, this is not looking good. I just had I didn't have a good feeling the last few years. Like, yeah, I don't think people care. Because I remember, like, we were talking about before the All-Star game. I think we had, like, during the text, man. I used to look
Oh
forward to
yeah,
All-Star weekend, bro.
yeah.
I would be there live. I used to go. Remember, me and you went to
We went
LA.
to the dunk contest.
You
Do you remember who won the dunk contest that year?
Ooh,
I remember.
who won the dunk
He was a
contest?
great dunker. He was a all. He was. Oh,
The Gerald Green,
nuh-uh. I don't know. I don't know if he's an all-time great dunker, but he's definitely one of the greats.
Jason Richardson.
Jason Richardson.
Okay, because I know the year. In Vegas when it was in Vegas. I think didn't Dwight won it, right?
I don't remember who won it that year.
Because I think Dwight, because he had a Superman cape and all that.
Oh, okay. So that was that team. That was that long ago.
Yeah, I think so. I think Dwight won it that year.
Because
I may be wrong though. I may be wrong.
The All-Star game was in Vegas. That was like 07.
07, yep.
Wow, was that cape thing that long ago?
Well, that's when he started it. I don't know. No, you know what? When he won it, no, I'm wrong. He wore the cape that year, but he lost. I forgot who he lost to. Because in 08 he won. That's when he did the cape. He did the cape in New Orleans.
I'm about to look it up right now. So who won the dunk contest in 2007?
I've been to 3 All-Star games in my life. I've been to one in high school, the 01, the one in DC. I was still in high school. I went to that one. I've been to the one when you and me went in 04 for LA. And then I've been to the one in Vegas. That's the last one I've been to. So
yeah, and you were right. It was Gerald Green, I believe, won it in 07.
Yeah, because I think he did the dunk where he blew the candle out. Yeah, right. He blew the candle out and dunked it. Yeah.
You know who I think should get some. And Stephen A. talked about this too. I actually do blame LeBron for the demise of the dunk contest. He's the only.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Good segue.
Yeah, I know. He's the only great all-time dunker. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, he's the only all-time great dunker who hasn't done it. I mean, Jordan,
right.
Dominique, Kobe, McGrady, Vince Carter. Like, I'm thinking of all the guys. Like, you know how you say the dunk contest. Now, props to Mac McClung. He's actually a great dunker. He's a great dunker. Yeah. So, but I don't know, man. I just don't understand why he never did it. I'm not saying like it's not a huge deal, I guess, but why didn't he? I mean, no, none of these other guys were too good for it. I just don't understand why LeBron's never done it. I think that heck, imagine even next season, even though LeBron's 41 next year, I think if LeBron says, I'm entering the dunk contest, I think we'd be like, oh, damn, that's actually going to be kind of cool. Like, he may not win it, but we'd all watch. We would all watch that.
Right.
So
yeah, I'm glad you brought up LeBron. What did you think about his whole not I don't think anybody had anything wrong with him not playing an All-Star game, but letting the NBA know hours, what was it, 2-3 hours before? What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I wasn't feeling that because you could have given that spot to somebody else.
Right.
That being an All-Star is a huge deal especially for like a first-time All-Star.
Right.
I don't know who would have made it over him.
Norman Powell. Norman Powell was thrown around there. He's averaging
he's having a good season. Norman Powell's having a real good year.
He would have been a first-time All-Star. So
that sucks for guys like him because being an All-Star also comes with certain incentives. So
it does.
Yeah. So listen. As much as I like LeBron, I don't think him or any other player is above criticism, and I didn't think that was the right move by him.
Yeah, I didn't like the move at all. I mean, like, I'm just gonna piggyback what you said. Like, you could have gave that spot to somebody like a Norman Powell, and to let the NBA know 2 or 3 hours before. And I'm sorry, bro. I am one of those people that I think he knew he wasn't going to play days before.
He probably knew.
I know everybody's saying, oh, he didn't know until – because I guess he had got there on Saturday. He wasn't even there until Saturday night. And then I guess apparently Sunday he supposedly woke up and then didn't feel like his ankle can go. But I'm sorry, you knew that before you got there, and all you got to do was talk to Adam Silver and say, look, I'm probably not going to be able to play this year. Go ahead and choose somebody else.
Yeah.
Just like Giannis did. I mean, Anthony Davis, that was different because he got hurt in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Giannis did, Yeah, I just don't like the fact that like you said, you're taking a spot away from somebody that's very deserving. And like you said, for somebody who can be a first-time All-Star, it's a big deal for them. Like you said, whether it's incentives or just being an All-Star itself.
Yeah, that's an awesome honor.
Yeah, so I didn't like that move. I just thought it was very selfish and kind of like, oh, I'm LeBron, I can do that, and then, him taking the team photo with his regular clothes on. It's like, come on, bro. Like, what are we doing here? Like, dog, you're not bigger than the NBA.
And the interesting thing about LeBron is he's played in a couple different eras, right? Like he was in the 2000s. Like, I'm surprised he did that because he should know how important that is to a player. He's been playing in the league for a long time.
Yeah.
Now, with what comes with that, though, is sometimes you feel like you're entitled to do what you want to do. Like, well, I've done a lot for this league, so if I want to pull out of the game an hour before, I have the right to do that. I mean, I don't think that's cool, but...
Nah, that's not cool. Like I said, nobody would have had a problem if he wasn't going to play. But to pull out, like I said, 2-3 hours before, like I said, if you did that, the week before, the week going into it, saying, hey, I'm not going to play, nobody would have an issue. Like, okay, that's fine. But it just seemed like he did that to kind of flex his muscle and almost like show how powerful he is. Like, oh, yeah, I'm LeBron. I can do that. So that's the part, like I said, I thought it was very selfish. And then, like I said, him taking the team photo with regular clothes on, it was like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? So, yeah. But one last point of the All-Star game I just want to bring up. I'm sure you heard some of KD's comments during the week of obviously people criticizing the new format, just like we did just now. And KD's thoughts are, if you don't like it or you complain that much, just get rid of it altogether. What are your thoughts on what?
I don't agree with that.
KD said.
If you have a problem, you don't just give up on it. You try to fix the problem, right?
Right.
So, yeah, no, I mean, it's a part of the game's tradition.
Right.
Once again, guys like him and, other stars of the league, especially guys that have been doing it for a long time, you just have to encourage players to like, hey, we got to play harder here, man. Like, these people pay a lot of money to come to these events.
Oh,
it's
bro.
Man.
Those tickets are not cheap for the All-Star game. Because I remember when I went back in 2001, so me and my mom, we were in the nosebleeds. So those tickets were like $250.
But that was back in 2001.
That was in 2001. So I can only imagine. That was 24 years ago. So I can only imagine what they are now.
Yeah.
And I think when we went for Saturday night, I remember in 2004, I think it was you and me, we went for the Saturday night thing. Dog, that was like, those tickets, I remember seeing the thing on, that was like $3-something.
And that was in LA. So
that was in LA. And that was in 2004. So I was like, I can only imagine what they are. Because in 2007, when I got the tickets, they were close to like $400 or $500. So they only were going up every year. So I can only imagine what they are now.
Especially you're talking about a game that was, the Bay Area. By the way, the Bay Area, everything's expensive. Gas is $6.50 a gallon.
Yeah, because you showed me the picture before.
So imagine how much tickets to an All-Star event.
Oh, yeah, I can only imagine, bro. Yeah, so I'm glad you brought up that point. Like, right, people paying good money to see this. You know what I mean? Like, paying a lot of money to, because let's be real. So some people, this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You don't go to multiple All-Star. I mean, I've been blessed. I've been lucky to go to 3 in my lifetime. I remember as a kid, like when I was really into the NBA in the 90s, I always wanted to go, especially to see Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, like, you can't take that for granted because the All-Star game at one point was looked at like almost as a Super Bowl. Like, you going to an All-Star game, like, bro, you got tickets to the All-Star game? Like,
it's so cool.
Yeah, man. It was just it was a real special thing. Now it doesn't feel that way, but I bet you, like you said, price-wise, it is. Like, you're like, bro, like, y'all doing this and I'm paying $600-$700 for a ticket and I'm way up there and y'all performing
I remember when me and you, around the time we first met, so maybe 20-something years ago, when Jordan's last All-Star game,
right,
when him and Kobe was guarding him, he hit like a fadeaway jumper. It's like, man, like I miss those moments. Like, I don't even have memorable moments from All-Star games anymore. Like I remember Tracy McGrady's dunk when off the backboard. I remember Kobe getting booed in Philly. It's just like those are all moments. Like, wow,
Yeah.
So it's damn. I miss the old NBA, man. But you know what? I'm not going to be one of those people that like I'm not watching it anymore. I still think there's a lot of great young talent, and I'm going to try to stay optimistic that they figure this out and that it kind of gets.
Well,
better.
you've been hitting with the segues. Another good segue. So obviously, you heard continuing with the NBA theme. Obviously, Draymond Green was on TNT during the All Star coverage this weekend, and he made the comments that he blasted the All Star game, and then saying that pretty much the game itself, the NBA, is pretty boring, and that he doesn't really like the direction the NBA is going into. He thinks it lacks star power. What do you just think of his comments? And there was a legend that actually rebutted him. But I'll let you. I want to get your comments from Draymond's comments first before then I tell you about the legend.
Was it Oscar Robinson? Who
yes, right. No, I wanted to get your comments on what you thought about what Draymond said first, and then I'll tell you what Oscar said.
Is it boring? I mean, my fandom isn't what it used to be. And I can't really pinpoint why. I think just the style of the game is different. I don't want to say it's like bad. It's just different because the NBA.
That's one thing he brought up was the style.
The style is just. I love the good post up game. I love Shaq backing dudes down. I love the NBA in the paint. Shooting is, dude. If you look at box scores, I was looking at a random box score with Jordan game. He had like 53. Jordan. So he had like 53, and I was looking at how many 3-point attempts were taken by the Bulls that game. I think they were playing like the Pacers or something. Dude, they took like 6 threes the whole game. That's what the NBA. Now, I'm not saying I would love for it to get back to that, but like I do miss when like a 3-pointer was like, all right, man, we're down by a lot. Like we got to kind of catch up. Like teams would, if you take, the leading guy on your team in 3-pointers was attempting like 4 a game. Now it's like 12. 14. Dude, teams are taking 35 threes. Like, dang, so.
Well, the Bulls, I believe, I don't know if it was this year, last year, they took 63s in a game.
Well, what about the Celtics earlier this year? They had like a record. They took like 60-something threes.
So here's the thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Did we finish? I'm sorry. I didn't know.
No, you can go. I'm actually going to look up that Celtics thing.
The one thing I do agree with Draymond on that comment is that, yes, they take way too many threes.
Yeah.
And, like, you're right. I'm with you. My fandom has gone down since probably the 2010s. Because I would say I was a big NBA fan from, like, 90s to, like, about 2010. Like, even with, like you said, the Shaq, Kobe era, the Duncan era, the big three Celtics. I was into the NBA then. But I would say around once it got close to the 2020s, once Kobe retired and guys like Duncan and KG kind of started to go.
Yeah.
I wasn't into the NBA as much. I mean, I still thought it had good stars, and I was still a big Melo guy, but I just wasn't into it like I was during those times. Like, because now when I watch the NBA, I feel like it's like baseball for me. Like I'm only watching it really now when it's the playoffs or the finals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The regular season game is hard for me to watch, because it's like I'm just going to watch them go up and down, chucking up threes. And I remember I think I was watching a game with you. It was like you, Brent, and I was like, oh, they just took another three. Oh, another three. I think we were counting.
Yeah.
And it was just, that's not good. You know what I mean? So I will agree on that point. But to say that the game is going, I don't think the game is boring. And to say the game is going in a
I don't like
bad direction, I don't know if I agree with that, because I agree with you. I think it still has star power. Now, the star power may not be as good as the 2010s and the 90s.
I disagree. I think there's just as much star power then as there was.
Think so?
Yeah, I think so.
A lot of people think, look, I don't want to dog the international. A lot of people think now it's more international. Like a lot of the stars are international. We don't have a lot of homegrown guys that are stars. Because think about the top 5 guys. 3 or 4 of them are international.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you think about the top 5 guys, you're like, yeah, they're all international. And maybe that's why he feels that way. But overall, I would say I do agree with him on the 3-point stuff. Like, yeah, they would take way too many threes. But as far as saying it's boring and it's going forward, he doesn't think it's going to be a good product.
Also, he wouldn't be saying that if the Warriors were good. He would not be saying that.
Yeah, he also would be saying if he was an all-star, too. Exactly. Yeah, because I feel like, let's be honest. Draymond is older. Yeah, he's on his way out. He's on the verge of retirement.
Exactly.
So he's not thinking about the future with the NBA. He's like, his future in the NBA is probably either broadcasting or, you know, doing something involved with the NBA. But yeah, I just thought the comments were. I agree with him on some points, but overall, I was just like, and then I didn't like the fact that you're dogging your own product. Like, bro, you play for
Yeah,
the
I don't
NBA.
like that.
Like,
I'm
why
not
would you
feeling
dog
that.
your own product?
Yeah,
I don't.
dude.
I mean, look, we all feel how we feel sometimes about our own jobs or things we do, but it's kind of kept in house. Like, you know, we discuss it, but it's not for the public to know. Like, oh yeah, I feel like, you know, the league sucks or the game is, you know, sucks or whatever. We don't ever say that. We may internally be like, yeah, there's things that we need to work on or improve on to make this thing better. And you may say, I don't like the direction it's going, but that's done privately, not to the public. You know what I mean? So I didn't like that part of it either. Kind of putting it out there like, yeah, the game's boring, you know. And then segueing to that, there was a rebuttal by Oscar Robinson, who pretty much told Draymond to shut up. And
he's old school. He's way back in the day.
You know,
60s,
you know what I mean? I think he made the comment that the only thing Draymond does is pass the ball to Steph Curry so he can shoot three. But you got to understand where Oscar Robinson's coming from. You know, here's a guy who, to be honest with you, is the reason why the NBA is doing free agency. You know, he was the first to, I think, in the Players Association to, I don't know if he sued the NBA or really, I forgot how it worked, but he was the first to argue of players being able to freely go where they want. You know,
that's major.
So he fought for that. And that was like in the 60s and 70s. So, you know, when a guy like that talks, you're gonna listen because he's been through it. I mean, the guy's 86 years old. He's seen it all, done it all. You know, he's gone through multiple decades of seeing the best players, you know, in different eras. So when guys like that talk, I tend to listen. So I agreed with him on, like, you know, I think he got him more on Draymond for dogging the product. Like I just said, like, you know, why would you dog a product that you work for? You know what I mean? And kind of say that, yeah, it's boring and you don't like the direction. But, you know, I think Oscar kind of said with any sport, it evolves, right? Basketball, the sports are ever evolving, right? So do I think this is going to last forever? No. I think sometimes you have a period where you're going to have this and then it may go back to the 90s ball, or we'll see something else now, you know, something new where they're doing more of like, oh, okay, now they're not taking as much threes, they're doing this. So we don't know that, though. We have to wait and see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't predict that. So I thought it was a good rebuttal and a funny rebuttal by Oscar saying that. But I don't know if you heard this, the statement by Oscar, but what were your thoughts on what he said?
Yeah, no, I saw his rebuttal as well.
Yeah.
We're both on the same page with this. So
right.
I mentioned earlier about the Celtics. Like, the Celtics have an NBA record this season. They've had 23 games where they've taken at least 50 threes.
That's insane, bro.
So that game, October 22nd, it was against the Knicks. I believe it was their season opener. They took 61 threes, Darian. 60.
Yeah, so they broke the Bulls. Because the Bulls thing, that happened last year, not this year. Maybe, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they were 29 to 61 from three. So how about this? So I'm going to go, I'm in the 96-97 Bulls season. I'm going to pick a random game. Let's see. They won 69. They were good that year, 69-13. I'm going to pick a random game. Let's see. I'm looking at, all right, let's do, what's today's date? Today's the 20th. Let's do February 21st, 1997 against the Bullets. All right, let's see here. The Bulls won 103-99. How many threes did the Bulls take? Ooh, they took 13 threes. That was actually like a lot.
How many did they make?
They were 8 of 13.
Oh, pretty good. Yeah.
Dude, people by themselves take 13 threes now. So, by the way, Jordan...
Yeah, Steph takes 20 himself.
Yeah. Jordan had 36. Had a good game. 3 for 4.
He said...
3 for 4 from 3. Pippen was 4 for 7 from 3. Good game.
What was Jordan from 3?
He was 3 for 4.
Oh, wow.
He wasn't really a great three-point shooter, but yeah, he played well. The Bullets... They only took 7 threes. They were 0 for 7. They weren't good. The Bullets, they weren't good back then.
Whoa, no, wait. But I think that was They made. Was that the year they had Jawan and Chris?
Yeah, let me see. Actually,
they didn't make the playoffs. They were the 8th seed though.
Yeah, well, at this point of the season, they were 24-29, so they weren't like terrible, I guess. But let's see who balled in this game for the Bullets. You got Juwan Howard had 25. Yo, I forgot about some of these dudes. Calvert Cheney. I forgot about Tracy Murray. Wow.
Yeah, because
George
Weber was on
Mirasan.
that team, right? Was Weber on that team?
Who?
Weber.
No, not yet. They had George Miras.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
George
Okay.
Mirasan had 13.
So you know what? I'm wrong. So it was 98 they made the playoffs. Wait, no, I
So,
thought it was 97.
so the Bullets this year, oh, they
They
weren't
made
bad.
the
Yeah, they
playoffs.
were 44 and 38. They weren't that
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, because they were the AC. I remember because they played the
They
Bulls.
got swept. Good
Right.
memory, by the way. Wow.
Yeah, so I was like, wait a minute, no, they made the playoffs that
You,
year.
you were, you were.
Oh, because they got Weber like in the middle of the year, I think. Because Weber was in
Mm,
that series.
got you. So
Yeah,
he
because
just
Golden
didn't
State
play. Yeah,
traded
he
Weber, I
wasn't on
think,
the
in the middle
team.
of the year. Yeah, they didn't trade him in off season.
Man, but I just wanted to pull up a random game just to show you, man.
Right,
Things have
right.
just changed so much. But hey, maybe we just have to adapt to the change, man.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, man, the game is ever evolving. I don't think it's going to stay like this forever. So people shouldn't jump the gun and say like, "Oh, the NBA," because I heard this week people talking about the NBA turning into Major League Baseball. I was like, I don't know if it's going to get that bad.
There's also been those rumors of like they might add a 4-point shot. Like, please don't do that.
No, please don't. Yeah,
You're
don't.
just gonna have a bunch of people taking 4s.
So some of the rumors I did hear was that they were thinking about extending the 3-point line back a little more and taking away the corner three, kind of playing like FIBA rules. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I would actually like that because then you can only shoot threes from a certain. You know what I mean?
See, I wouldn't like. It's so hard, man. You can't tell players not to take threes. I guess for me, it's like pushing the line back. I don't necessarily think that's fair either to the players of today. Like, why should the 3-point shot be harder for them? You know what I mean?
But I think it's like Adam said, we're trying something like to say, hey guys, like we're trying to make it as difficult as possible for you to shoot a three.
He's gonna ban them.
It'll get them
ban threes.
I know attempt less threes, so they would obviously drive more, shoot more twos, which I think people want to see. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, obviously you got some guys that probably still take a lot of threes because some of them be pulling up from the logo. They be pulling up from like half court.
Only Steph and only like 3 guys should. Steph and like Lillard and only a couple guys should be able to do that.
I agree.
Now you'll have like
and maybe
you'll have like
Young,
centers doing it. What's up?
And maybe Trae Young, like those 3. I can see those 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you think it's fair that Steph has gotten a lot of the blame for today's NBA?
No, because I hear that a lot too. I mean, even especially this week, a lot of people saying that they blame Steph Curry for what the game is, but man, no, because I mean he is the reason why this game has evolved and what it turned into. Now, for better or worse, that's up to you as a fan, as an argument, but you have to give him props. I mean, he's a game changer. I mean, the guy made a really big impact on the game of basketball. You know what I mean?
100%.
Changing it to what it is. Whether you like it or not, it's still an impact, and it's still a big impact and a change that you have to give him props to say, like, damn, like, yeah, he changed the game. And
he's one of the most influential players of all time.
Right, and it's only about, 4 or 5 influential players probably ever in the history of basketball.
Yeah.
You can say change the game. So he's up there. He's one of them. You know what I mean? Whether you like it or not, he's one of them. So, yeah, I don't like the whole, let's blame
I'm curious who comes to mind when you think of players that changed the game. Obviously, Wilt, because they changed the rules.
Right.
Wilt. Jordan, they changed the rules for Jordan.
Magic and Bird, I think.
Magic and Bird changed the game.
Well, they made the game to where, the NBA started to be live. Remember, it used to be on tape delay. They made it go.
Yeah, so would you say, they had a major influence on the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Influential, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, because, bro, the NBA used to be on tape delay. And then when they came in, they had live games. And then remember, that's when the ratings shot up in the NBA.
That was a big era. That's why I'm always surprised when people are like, oh, Jordan saved the league. I'm like, well, I think I would give more props to Pippen and I'm sorry, to Bird and Magic for that.
I agree.
Yeah, I would.
I always say that. That's one thing, because I'm a Jordan fan, I always say, no, I don't think Jordan saved the league. I think it was Magic and Bird. I think Jordan took it to the next level. Mm-hmm. Jordan made the game more global after that.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. That's what he gets the props for.
Yeah, he used to make the game more global. But Magic and Bird saved the NBA. And then Jordan took it to the next level, making it more global. And then LeBron's still an influential player, even though, talking about a kid coming out of high school with the expectations.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't even say, he surpassed expectations. I mean, talking about, whether you think he's the greatest or not, you know what I mean? You're talking about a top 2 of all time, you know Absolutely. What I mean? So he definitely is influential just because, remember for a while, especially with high school, we were like, they're very hit or miss. Like, it was like,
They were, because remember how hyped up like somebody like Sebastian Telfair was?
yeah, like they
Yeah,
were
he
kind
didn't
of
really
bust.
pan out.
Tommy Brown,
Darius Miles.
yeah, Eddie Curry. You know what I mean?
Although Eddie Curry looked all right for a little bit. I was like, he's all right.
And,
But he
Tyson Chandler didn't have a good start, but he ended his career
He
very
did. He had a solid career.
Yeah, he ended up having a solid career.
Amari was out of high school, right?
Who was?
Amari was out of high school.
Amari, Tracy McGrady.
AG.
Yeah, so you had some guys, and Kevin Garnett. You had guys that were straight out of high school.
But it was you had your misses and your hits. It's just
hits, right. But I think LeBron was the one that was like, oh, he took it to that next level. Like, you're never going to get another high schooler like that. I think that's
do you think they should bring that back?
The high school thing?
Yeah. Should you be able to come to the NBA out of high school?
Because how are you telling an 18-year-old who's legally a grown man, oh, you need to go to college? I don't like that. A
lot of people use the argument too, like, well, if he can go to the military, I can go to the NBA.
Thank you. I agree. That's what I'm saying. You're telling a grown man, no, you need to go to college. Well, what if he doesn't need to?
Also, what does 1 year do?
Right.
Like, I went for 1 year. I'm mature now.
I don't know if I would really want to see LeBron at Ohio State playing in the Final Four against Georgetown
for 1 year.
For 1 year, and then let's say he didn't win the national championship. People, I don't think he's that good. He still would have been great in the NBA. Now,
this may already be in place, but I think what needs to happen though, if you're gonna have high school players be able to come to the league again, is they just have to have like a financial class that they take the season before they come into the league. Like players need to understand how to manage money. I mean, heck, even adults our age struggle with that. So I think it would be. I mean, you're talking about an 18-year-old that's about to get $70 million. So yes, they should learn how to manage that money. I don't think 1 year of college is going to do anything. I think you can implement that you can just have them take the required class.
Exactly.
So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
They want to grow the game of college basketball. I get all that because, like it's been brought up many times by different, analysts and everything that, when you have stars in the college and then, they're going to the NBA, they like now people already know who they are going into the NBA. You know what I mean? So that I agree with that because I like college basketball. I want college basketball to still be like a stepping stone from there to the NBA. And then guys, like, oh yeah, I remember him from, Iowa State or Duke or North Carolina. Yeah, you kind of want to, that's cool. You know what I mean? But you shouldn't force an 18-year-old, like you said, and they can go to the military, but they can't go to the NBA. I don't think you should force them to do that.
Right.
It be a choice. Like, oh, if I'm going to go, I'll go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Kwab, before we get out of here, man, anything else you got?
I got, being a Cali guy, West Coast kid, I got to give a big shout out to Dr. Dre. Happy 60th birthday. But before we wrap up speaking of Dr. Dre, obviously not only a major influence on hip hop in general, music in general, but particularly West Coast hip hop. So just real quick before we go, man, I would love to do a little versus edition of West Coast albums. I'm just going to give you 2 albums. You just tell me which one you prefer and why. We can make this kind of a rapid fire discussion here. So first one up, 2 albums that are iconic. When I was growing up in the 90s, man, whether it was house parties or just hanging out with my brothers, the 92.3 The Beat. All my Cali people remember that radio station, Power 106. But I'm going to give you 2 albums. First one up, album you prefer, Doggy Style or The Chronic?
I'm going to go with Doggy Style.
Ooh, why is that?
Because I know Dr. Dre produced both albums, obviously, but he doesn't really rap. I mean, he raps, but his raps are written by other guys. Whereas Snoop is the talent. He's the rapper, writes his own rhymes, and I just thought Snoop at 19 doing that. He was 19 when that came out.
I
know. It's funny because people always talk about Nas with Illmatic, how young he was. But nobody really talks about how young
he's very young.
And
very young.
Having a classic album at that age, you know what I mean? I think him and Nas are very on par with. Now, I'll probably still take Illmatic over Doggy Style, but yeah, I mean, Snoop was young when that album came out. So I'm always going to give more props to the MC than the producer because you can have the dopest beats, but you still got to be saying something and still be able to spit. So, when Snoop wasn't producing the album, a lot of those songs were coming from his head, what he was saying, you know what I mean? Not to say Chronic is an absolute classic, but and Dr. Dre's admit this, plenty of times that, he didn't write his own rhymes. His rhymes were written. He wasn't rapping. He wasn't coming up with that. He was just guys are writing it for him. He did the beat, and then don't get me wrong, some of those songs are classics or chronic. You know what I mean? But yeah, I would take Doggy Style over.
I wonder if you poll people what they would pick, because I feel like when you hear of iconic albums, I'm gonna agree with you. By the way, I would slightly prefer Doggy Style for me because, without context, that sounds crazy. I prefer Doggy Style, but but. Well, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
So
pod, by the way, so that's fine. Go ahead. This is not for kids. So.
Wow. So yeah, Snoop Dogg's album Doggy Style I prefer, because I one thing I like about that album is it was a dope mix of like party songs like Gin and Juice. I think of like going to like parties in high school, or ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. Like I just some wild songs on that album, but they're all iconic. They're just iconic, man. And I like the vibe of Doggy Style a little better than the Chronic. Now I do love the Chronic. Like when you think of the Chronic, man, I mean, I gotta pull up this track listing real quick. Hold up real quick. The Chronic. But no, as far as Doggy Style, I just feel like it's a little bit more of a complete album, whether you're looking for stuff that's a little more hard hitting, whether you're looking for something party to just chill to.
Right.
I just love the versatility of that album. Now, of course, the Chronic, it starts off just with super bangers. I mean, Dre Day is one of the greatest disses of all time. I mean, I remember one of the first rap songs that I really liked was Nothing But a G Thing. That's a classic.
Yeah.
That introduced us to Snoop.
Because Snoop wrote Dr. Dre's lyrics in that song. Like, he wrote it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it'd be different if Dr. Dre was like writing that. I probably would have took Chronic.
That doesn't matter to me. I'm just
and look, he has a little pass because he's a producer. You know what I mean? And he's one of the greatest producers of all time. But I'm always going to give the person that is more original writing their rhymes. You know what I mean? And coming up with the song. Because Dre was producing it. Like, Snoop was still coming up with the ideas of the song. You know what I mean? Doggy Style to Dre. Dre just put out the banging beats. You know what I mean? So, and like I said, I give Snoop a lot of props for doing it at 19, coming up with those ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And Dre was in his mid-20s. You know what I mean? When he was doing that. So yeah.
Okay. So, all right, let's go to the next one. All Eyes on Me. Tupac, of course, or we'll do another Dr. Dre album, Chronic 2001.
I'm gonna go All Eyes on Me, kind of for the similar reasons. And okay. This might be a hot take. I know and I'm sure some West Coast people will get mad at me. I always thought Chronic 2001 was a little overrated.
Really?
I did.
I just thought the production was flawless.
Like, I know Eminem was introduced. A lot of West Coast artists were kind of introduced on that album, but.
Wow.
It's like a compilation more to me than a Dre album. I mean, he raps on some of the songs, but he also has a lot of songs where he doesn't rap on it and he lets other guys. But you know what I mean? And he had some guys on there that weren't that good. Like you go through some of these I'm like, okay, like he had Trey D, he's not good. I was a big Devin the Dude guy.
Yeah, like Devin the Dude.
And I'm good. He had
I tell you what, though.
He had that dude Cocaine. He wasn't good. Yeah, King T and your boy Nocturnal was on that good thing. Yeah,
I said my boy.
I used to clown him when we were in college. Yeah, Nocturnal. Yeah, so I just thought it was a little overrated because he had some guys that's like, why do you have him on this album?
But the production.
No, the production is insane. It's nasty.
You talk about, I mean, you know how I feel about Still Dre, Still DRE. That's one of my favorite songs ever. Explosive. What's the difference? Forget about Dre. Next episode, like the production is flawless on there.
But now, I think Pac has more of the memorable songs because, like, dog, Ambitious as a Rider.
Yeah.
How Do You Want It? Two of America's Most Wanted. California Love. Like, bro, like,
I mean, that's an all-time.
I get mad at you.
I'm also picking All Eyes on Me.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Now, I will say All Eyes on Me had an advantage because it was a double disc. I know you like double disc. You guys still.
Well, you always say that with the wrong albums, though. You be like,
I do. That's true.
You be like, Double Up by Mace was a double disc. I'm like, no, it wasn't. That album was not good, by the way. Double Up.
I just like you said it was passed around by like your friends. I don't know where it is now.
Mace only had one good album. Was hard.
He did. But yeah, bro. I mean, just you have too many things on Pac. Picture Me Rolling.
Classic.
Yeah, I just think he had better songs on the album than Dre. And obviously Dre produced and did a lot of production on All Eyes on Me. But yeah, I just think Pac has more memorable songs.
Okay.
All Eyes on Me compared to 2001.
Yeah, and that probably wasn't even like a fair matchup. All Eyes on Me is one of the all-time.
Yeah, bro. Because I mean, if you want to go song for song, All Eyes on Me is gonna kill it.
All Eyes on Me. I mean, All Eyes on Me is. If somebody wanted to say that that's the most influential West Coast album ever, I'd be fine with that.
I would be too.
I agree. I'm gonna go. We're 2 for 2 on agreeing. All right, it's gonna get a little tougher now, man.
Mm-hmm.
Good Kid, Mad City, which a lot of people mistakenly say that's Kendrick's debut album. It is not. Section 80.
No, it's not. Yeah,
but I feel like that's when he was. That's when he kind of blew up, because I didn't really know much about Kendrick before Good Kid, Mad City personally. But Good Kid, Mad City, or The Game's documentary. This, I don't know where you go.
This was tough because while I love Good Kid, Mad City, I don't think that's Kendrick's best album. You know what I mean? It's one of, and I know one of our friends actually thinks that's his best album.
Yeah, I know quite a few people that think that's his best album.
Yeah, it's a great album. It's a great album.
Yep, for sure.
But I'm gonna go with documentary, bro.
Yeah,
The Game's documentary. I just remember that dropping when we were in college, and nobody really knew of him. And then when that dropped, people were like, "Bro, who is this dude?" Like people were like, everybody was on The Game. Like that album, to me, like I put it up there with Get Rich or Die Trying. Like I think Get Rich or Die Trying is a classic. And I put documentary.
They were homies. They were working
homies, right? And I know people. I don't even think it's a hot take because I've said this for years. I've always thought The Game was a little slightly better lyricist than 50. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, is that like that? I think he is.
Yeah.
Now Kanye does have some dope lines. Oh, I'm sorry, 50 has some dope lines, but I don't think 50's like blowing me away lyrically.
No, like The Game was blowing you away lyrically on the album. You were like, bro, this dude can spit.
Although a lot of people think he like name drops.
I'm not big on the name dropping. Yeah, I know the name. Everybody gets on about the name dropping, but he can spit though. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna take documentary, bro, because I'm looking at some of these songs: West Side Story, Dreams, Hate It or Love It, Higher.
I mean, Hate It or Love It is a
put you on game. Start from scratch, running. No more fun and games.
Great song too.
Yeah, bro.
I didn't really like that. Fun and games. I didn't like the hook. Besides that, no more fun and games. Yeah, I wasn't feeling it.
Like Father Like Son with Busta. That's a dope dope. Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Good Kid, Mad City has a bunch. I mean, Shireen. Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe.
Yeah.
Swimming pools. Right, Swimming Pools. Poetic Justice.
Even Compton's a great song. I know it was like a bonus track. Yeah.
But I would give the slight edge to documentary, bro, because I just remember that dropping and I was like, yo, this is different. This is dope. Because Kendrick, I kind of knew who he was before Good Kid, Mad City. I had heard of him and knew when he did like features, so I knew who he was. We didn't know who The Game was. Nobody really knew The Game. He kind of came out of nowhere.
He came out of nowhere.
Yeah, like we kind of knew Kendrick, like even before he came out, like you were like, oh yeah, I've heard that dude, and some of the people like he sounds dope. So I wasn't shocked that his second album was good, but I think we were just caught more with The Game because it was like, whoa, like dog, like who is this dude? Like
he caught us off guard for sure.
Yeah.
All right, last one we'll do another Pac album. We'll do Me Against the World versus Ice Cube's The Predator. Which one you got?
Ooh,
right now we're 3 for 3. We agree on all three. Let's see where we go.
It's a tough one. It's almost like drink champs. I feel like I need to drink on this one.
All right, I'm gonna go first. While you think about it.
Go ahead, you go first.
I'm actually gonna go with The Predator on this one because
I can't be mad about that.
Yeah, because so to me, one, I mean, today was a good day. Like that. That's like a West Coast theme. Like you think of when you think of him, and Check Yourself was a great song too. But
of course,
I just think that's a really complete album, and I give a lot of props to Cube, man. I think sometimes like people do give Cube his props as far as all-time great MCs, but I think when it comes to the West Coast, him parting from NWA and getting off to such a great start from the jump, and continuing that for a long career. He's still rapping, by the way. I'm gonna give The Predator the edge here. Now, Me Against the World, I mean, it has some of my favorite Pac songs on it. I mean, Dear Mama is.
I mean, you're talking about one of the most influential rap songs of all time.
So many tears is a great song.
Just like Today Was a Good Day. That's one of the most influential.
Yeah, Me Against the World. The actual song is dope too. So
right.
But I'm gonna give the slight
edge.
Yeah, I'll give the slight edge to Predator with this one.
Yeah, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's a tie, bro.
It's tough. You can give me a tie. You gotta pick a winner.
This is tough, bro. This is tough.
It's tough.
I'm gonna say I relate more to Me Against the World, so I'll give it a little slight because
Okay.
Dear Mama is one of my favorite all time rap songs.
Mhm.
Like it definitely does make me think about my mom when I
Oh
hear
yeah,
it.
that's a
Even though,
classic.
even though my mom never did the stuff that Pac's mom did, and
I hope, man. I know your mom
yeah,
well.
that
Never,
stuff,
she never
but it's
did.
just one of those songs that like when I hear it, like in one of his Mother's Day, her birthday, it's an emotional song.
Yeah.
Um, and then like I said, so many tears. Like you said, Me Against the World's a great song. Temptations. Yeah, so I'll give it a slight edge over Predator. Even though Predator is dope, I'll probably pick Me Against the World. I'll give it a little slight edge because I think I relate to that song, relate to that album a little more than I do Predator.
And man, like today was a good day. Just the sample, the Isley Brothers
Oh yeah, it's one
samples.
of the greatest hip hop songs of all time.
Perfect hip hop song, man. But props to Cube though, because I mean, his first album, um, now America's Most Wanted was his first, but like Death Certificate is another great Pop Cube album
It
too. So,
is, yeah.
but I always when I think of Cube's best, I always go to the Predator first because I
Predator,
love
yeah, yeah.
those
I
songs so
can't
much.
blame you,
But
but
shout out to the West Coast, man. Shout out to the West Side.
speaking of that, I know we'll get into it down the road, but me and Kwab are taking our wives to the Kendrick concert in
Kendrick
June.
and SZA in June. We're excited
Yeah,
about
so
that.
for me, Kwab and my wife, it will be our first stadium
Right.
concert. And I've never seen Kendrick in concert, so
Me
this is
neither.
huge.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, yeah,
I've
right.
heard
Yeah,
good things.
I've heard good things, and then I'm also looking, forward to seeing SZA. I'm a SZA guy.
Yeah. By the way, man, whenever it's streaming, you should definitely check out her movie with Kiki
Yeah, so
Palmer.
it's on Amazon Prime to rent. So I know it's going to be on soon to watch on Prime. So
Yeah,
yeah, no,
that's even worth the rent. So it was really good.
yeah, it looks great. It looks great because it
Mhm.
looks like it's a good cast. I
Yeah.
like at least from the trailer I saw, it looks funny. It
One of
just
them days
looks like
is what
it's
it's
something very
called.
relatable to
Yeah,
yeah,
one of them days. And what I like about it is it kind of has a little bit of everything. Comedy, it's like heartfelt moments.
right,
It's a really
right.
great movie about friendship. So
Yeah,
highly
yeah,
recommend
for
that
sure. It
one.
looks good. So no, I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to watching that then. But yeah, man, we'll do it again next week. NFL season's over, but we're gonna still be here.
that's right.
NBA still going on. We'll still talk about. We're gonna get into some, a lot of pop culture, and I know I'm the sneakerhead, but it's a lot of heat dropping this year.
Well, I'm just frustrated because I can never get shoes on like for a decent price. Like I go on these apps, these sneaker apps, and then it'll be sold out. I'm like, all right, it's a frustration.
Let me ask you something. You've never gotten a win off of
No,
SN.
but I've also haven't tried as many times. Like I've probably tried like 10 times. I'm 0 for 10.
Yeah, because I'm like 5 for like 100. Yeah, I'm bad too, but
You got a 5% shooting
I'm like
percentage.
5%, so it's not good for me.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, man, we're just gonna give you content every week. Like I said, I know you guys always come to us. Bread and butter is the NFL, but like I said, we were talking about the NBA. Obviously NFL free agency starts next month, and we got the draft in April. So we'll still be talking about the NFL even in the off season. Like I said, just bringing you kind of like the top stuff that's going on in pop culture. We'll also be having guests, on, in the future, to talk about different things, topics. So just stay tuned, man. Just stay
no
tuned.
doubt, no doubt. We'll do it again next week.
Peace.
Peace.